Well, hi, I'm back again. It's Monday evening. I'm just finding my notes in the right place. And yeah, it's Wise Woman Live. So I don't know about you, but we're actually having summer here. This could be it, but we've had a lovely 3 or 4 days since Thursday was superb. Went for a marvelous walk with a friend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and today I've been largely gardening, which has been good, and got things like my polytunnel is up and planted full of the tomatoes, and the succession sowing of the salad is happening, and the meadows are coming along, and the paths are mowed, and yeah, it's been a bit like that, but it is lovely, and it is lovely and warm. And hi, Susan. And so I've been having quite a good time and ruminating while I garden, which is something I do a lot, and while I walk as well, and chittering to the friend I was walking with on Thursday a bit as well. So all sorts of things. And I said I'm going to talk about a course that I hope to run later this year called Hunting the White Stag. And I've got a nice little picture for that, so I'll see if I can get that up for you. And you might have seen it before anyway, but we'll see. And it sort of starts us off quite well. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, you're getting it. That was an actual white stag who lived on Exmoor. This must be nearly 20 years ago. Unfortunately, he got killed, but he was lovely while he was there. And they do occur, real white stags. That is a bridge, also on Exmoor, and behind is hills of Exmoor. But needless to say, you can see that it's a composite photograph that I've put together. Oh, hunting the white stag. The myths and legends of the hunt for the white stag go back probably millennia, thousands of years. And the story is very roughly, I mean, it's even been picked up in the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, the Narnia story. But it's been picked up in a lot of other places too. But the basic premise of hunting the white stag is that you hunt him, and after various adventures, you find him and are able to, I say catch him, but it isn't exactly that. More like he catches you. But anyway, he then accepts you. You have shown yourself to be a suitably nice, bright, intelligent person. And he will then offer you 3 wishes, which is yet another test, of course, because you have to be incredibly careful what you wish for, because he will grant them. And if you've got it a bit wrong, you could end up in rather a mess. And some of the stories around the hunting the white stag actually do have this happen to people, that they end up really screwed up. But that is not necessarily the case. And variations on the hunt occur really anywhere in the world where deer are revered. Deer are part of the old culture, part of the god culture of that particular place. I say God for want of a better word. It isn't really right. I mean, modern concepts of God are nothing like what the white stag is. But powers, unearthly powers, but they're earthly at the same time, otherworldly powers. Okay, how about that? So he's part of the otherworldly pantheon that occurs all over the world, wherever deer are revered. And that's a lot of places. if you like to look around the world, there are a lot of places where deer are a very important in the cultural mythos. And I've just realised you can't hear a bloody word I'm saying. For which, multiple apologies. So, total cretin here didn't realise that she got her sound turned off. So, shall we reverse down this again? So, sort of slide over this. If I get a chance, which I probably won't, I'll try and cut the front off. But anyway, hello, everybody. It's great to see you. And as you can see, I've got Hunting the White Stag up, and I am talking about it. And now you can probably hear me. So, the myths and legends of the white stag are ancient, millennial, and the basic story of him is that if you can catch up with him, then he will grant you 3 wishes. Now, to find him and catch up with him means you have to go through lots and lots of adventures. And not just looking for him, but then following him, probably getting led astray by him, and eventually you prove yourself to be, and he will accept you, and he grants you 3 wishes. And that gets you into more trouble again, or can do, because he always grants those whatever you wish. So if you get your wishes a bit wrong, you will end up in a muddle. You will end up in a state, and it's really not a good idea. It means you have to really learn discernment to discriminate what you truly and what you truly mean, and to ask for what you truly mean, not just, whatever you think is the thing at the time. You have to really work on your words and really work on what you're thinking and what you're actually meaning. And tales of him, as I was just saying when I discovered that I had got my sound on, go all around the world. Everywhere where deer are revered, this story of the hunting the white stag turns up in some form or another. And the adventures that people go through, they can be many different types of things, but I'm going to go through that in a minute. But the one that I found, it clicked with me with this story, was about 30 years ago. Now, I was brought up on this story. Exmoor, the picture where we are here, all of this land, and because he was a real white stag on Exmoor, and this is a lovely bridge I like on Exmoor, and these are the hills of Exmoor, all put together in a composite. I was brought up on his story, and it was a game we children used to play as well. We would go hunting the white stag, and we would give each other adventures and do adventures going to play through the woods, or going down this lane and then through the quarry and then up through the woods and then across the field and all this kind of thing. And so we're used to the story. And it turns up in lots of European myths. It's part of Arthurian myths. It's part of C.S. Lewis uses it in The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, particularly at the end. And all sorts of other people have used it. And then 30 years ago, a bit more actually, I started training as a transpersonal psychotherapist. And that's a really interesting journey. It's not like you might think learning psychology is, or it certainly wasn't when I was doing it. It's not particularly straight-laced, but it has some very, very clear techniques and ways of learning and ways of doing things, which are all very useful and which I still use and adapt to the shamanic training that I do, the old ways of Britain, because they work and because they're very similar to the way I was taught when I was a kiddie. So my teachers there, they hadn't got the old stories of Britain, really. They were much more inclined to Eastern stories and a lot of Zen. Now, I'd done some Zen already, and I do love Zen. Zen is one of my other places to be that I really enjoy it. It always makes me laugh. And it always like oomph. It really goes to me. One of my favourite authors uses it, Ursula K. Le Guin. Many of her real science fiction books, they are based in Zen, and she does use bits of it every now and again, and it's lovely. And Zen is very much about living, and so are the old ways of Britain. And this is what my apprentices get. You learn how to live in this world and other world at the time, walking between the worlds, we call it. And so you learn that there's a lot more than just the sort of idiot stuff one gets told on the news or something like that. And people stop laughing at you, or you stop laughing generally, and people do tend to stop laughing at you because you actually believe in fairies. You see them because you believe in magic, because you do it and you know it and you watch it work. Now, the transpersonal was like this for me. They believed in magic. They didn't talk about it that way with those words quite, but what they actually did was magic. And I was like, whoa, that is. So one of the stories that they used very much, and one of my tutors, Barbara, was very, very keen on it. She did a small course on it, was using what are called the 10 ox herding pictures, which you may well have heard of. They're amazing. And when we started the work and I went on her little course, I was like, I recognize this. All right, this is ever so like the hunting the white stag that we used to do. Only in some ways it was, well, most Zen and most of the Eastern philosophies come over like more formal, more formalized, which is quite useful in some ways because they talk about things in quite succinct ways. This is like the haiku method, but they're not necessarily in haiku, but it's being short and succinct and being together. And I talked to Barbara about this, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that this was like that. The white stag stories are like this." I said, "Well, yeah, they are. It's sort of the same premise." So, what is the premise for hunting the white stag, or for the wedding pictures? It's about learning to know yourself, and in both cases, this is what the creature, the ox in the Zen, and the stag for us here in Britain, this is what they bring you to, is to learning to know yourself. So they put you through, or you put yourself through, or a combination of the two, again, walking between worlds, a set of adventures. The first one, fairly obvious, is hunting the stag or hunting the ox. And all the mistakes and things that can happen in that. Imagine, there you are. Is that an ox print or is that a something else print? Do I understand what a deer print looks like? All this kind of stuff. Is this where a deer would be? Am I following the right way? Am I following my heart? Am I following my gut? And you get there. You really do. You get there and you get to the next place, which is, I found the stag. I found the ox. And that would be a real jubilati day. Oh, I've got the stag. I've found the stag. I'm there already, kind of feeling. Of course you're not. And so the stag and the ox run. They get away from you. And then you have like sort of feelings of, I need to catch it. So you actually do. In the ox herding one, there's a picture of the apprentice has got a rope on the bull. And he's pulling one way, and the bull's pulling the other way, and it's going round and round like this. Don't quite do it like that with the stag, but this is that idea of I've got it, you know, the grip of the hand. And then, of course, you don't, because it's gone. And then you learn how to get close to the stag or the ox more easily. And you begin to make friends. And the stag allows you to ride them. And they take you somewhere. But then that's all sort of, you sort of think, oh, yeah, this is great. And then it's not, because he's taking you somewhere right out of the world. And there you start to find a real connection with the stag and with yourself. And you start to lose the need to hang on, to rope the animal to you, to clutch, and to try and be in control. And so that takes you to another place again. And that's much more of a sort of spirit place, as you might think. But it's different again, how that happens. And no, Susan, it's not linked to the wild hunt at all. It's a very different thing that happens. And now let's sort this a little bit. The wild hunt is partly there in that Gwynap Nuth leads it for us, the antlered god. And Gwynap Nuth in our tongue. And he has a pack of hounds, and he rides the sky, and one of the things you hear geese going over, and no, is it, or is that the wild hunt? Is it geese, or is it the wild hunt? But Gwyn has another thing that happens with him when he's using the hunt, because he collects souls that have gone astray, souls that have become ghosts, souls that don't even know they're dead. And he's a soul catcher. And he gently herds them up and brings them to the river and helps them to cross and helps them to know. He brings them to his brother. It's Chiron. And takes them across the river. In our land, it might be Manawithan, who is one of the boatmen, who takes you across the water so that you know they're in the other world. So it's very different, because you knowing you. He's talking about collecting souls, about work way beyond you becoming. The white stag is about in here and about out there, and about you personally finding you and other world, and even more so, the threads between the personal self the incarnation we are now, and the spirit that is inhabiting us. And so Gwynap Nuth is not involved in this at all. This is the stag himself, he's a different power, and he's much more solitary, and he's partly he's special, and he's solitary, and he's odd. It's like the white raven. That is much more similar to the white stag. You, a leader to take you out of the self, and to be able to be both at once. And, you know, when you need to deal with the bank manager, you're mostly the personal self, although the spirit self is there behind, advising. And when you're on a journey with the stag or visiting Ellen or whatever kind of journey you're on, you are much more a spirit self. But the personal self is still come back to that after the journey. This is the shell that holds your spirit. This is your spacesuit for getting around on planet Earth. And the stag helps us to know that the spacesuit is not our true self. I'm currently called Ellen. My colleague is currently called Fiona. My best friend down the road is called Kim. My husband is called Paul. But they're not always Paul, and they're not always Kim, and they're not even always of the same gender in every incarnation, and maybe quite a different race. I have memories of being with Paul from literally 2,000 years ago, when he was living in Rome, and I was a squaddy in Caesar's army who had done an everyday marriage with him. So it can get quite interesting and amusing. We have quite a lot of memories of that, as it was a fairly recent life that we spent together again. So the stag is helping you learn that side of yourself, to learn to be part of the spirit world and to be part of yourself. It's a basic stuff that we all actually need. You can't go very far if you think that you are Ellen or Paul or Kim or Susan or Fiona or whoever you are. If you think that's who you are, then you can't go into the spirit world very far, because you'll meet lots of beings who remember you in quite different ways. And you won't see yourself in the same way. As you come to see yourself as a spirit, you will see yourself much more as an energy being that doesn't necessarily look like I look now at all. So this is what the stag is doing. And stag does it through leading you through adventures where you experience this, try this, work this out, see how it fits with you, and see how you fit with it. And each time you sort of up a step, as you grasp a bit more reality about who you truly are, which is way beyond being Ellen. So there I was this spring, and Otherworld got me to fish out my old notes of the ox herding pictures, which was lovely. Going back all those years, going back to about 1989, 90, when I was doing this, and it was like, oh yeah, I remember. And you know how when you read things, you remember being there and being in the place and this sort of thing. So I was going back as well to an older me, to a me who wasn't as connected as I am now. Oh, all the time. If we're working, we're connecting more each day, let alone each year, let alone each decade, than we were the day, year, or decade, or whatever before. So that was great, and I enjoyed it. And then my otherworldly guides said, you know, you remember this when you were a kiddie playing the white stag. Said, what we want is for you to do a course for students doing this, where they can do it and you can help them, because it's always good to have a lead, you know, someone who's there, who's been there before you, someone who's walked the path ahead of you so they can sort of do a bit of steering and ask the right questions and make you think, which is really what I do a lot of. And so I said, all right then, sounds fun. What do you want? So they said, well, whatever happens with lockdown and COVID and all the rest of it, Ask got you to start working on Facebook and StreamYard and Zoom. I'm quite a Zoom. I like Zoom. I like working with Zoom. It's very comfortable. So I said, you need to do a Zoom course. And apart from anything else, people can come to it without having to physically travel to you. And that would be a lot easier for a lot of people, whether we've got COVID or not. Because some of the people who like to work with me, for instance, like in America or in Europe, and, you know, just nipping over for 3 hours of a Sunday evening is not on. You're not going to do that. So they said, we want you to do a Zoom course. So I said, okay, what kind of things do you want? So they said, well, we'd like you to use the basic idea of the 10, of doing a whole 2 handfuls of lessons. They were doing this at me when there's a bit better hands than mine. And we want you to do the 10. And that would be like the 10 ox herding pictures. So we wanted to split it into 10 adventures and journeys and happenings. I said, fine. But I said, on Zoom, like, you know, do you want them to be writing to me as well? He said, no, we don't. Not this time. I mean, obviously they can, but that isn't part of the work as it is certainly through the apprenticeship and through a lot of the Dear Trods courses, where there's a lot of emailing and writing and stuff as well. I said, no, this is 10 lessons, and we think take about 3 hours. So I said, well, yeah, I think 3 hours of a session is good. No more, and possibly might even be less, but I think 3 hours, if people can manage it, would be good. And I said, but it's a long time, you know, they can't listen to me for 3 hours. That's boring. I mean, I find it boring, and they do. So what kind of thing we want is, like, as a initial session at the beginning of the Zoom, where you all get together and a bit of discussion and what's been and what is going to happen today. And then you do a journey. I said, you can lead the journey on Zoom. That's fine. So you do a journey into the first of the adventures, or the second, into the adventure for the day with the stag, and take everybody through that. Then, and this is the good thing about Zoom, you can do what you call go into breakup rooms. So split you up, which is what happened, what Barbara did with the ox herding pictures with us, as you do the journey and then you do some, you know, making little notes in your drawing and everything, just to remind you what happened on your journey. And then you split up and go into another room with 1 or 2 other people. 3 is a nice number to do this with. And you each share your own journey that you had. That's without asking the other person questions, without interrupting, and without commenting or critiquing. Just be able to be there and witness and listen. Now, that's an enormous thing for people to have done for them and for you to do for others. So you go into what they call breakout rooms, and you each witness the other person's journeys. And no critiques, nothing like that yet, and no questions. So you know a bit about what's been going on. And then you come back, and that's going to take you half an hour, maybe 3/4, but it'll take you half an hour for 3 people, maybe a little bit longer. Then we all come back into the main group again, and we share the discussion. And so each group talks about what happened with them and listens to what the other groups have said. So that's going to be each of you in turn, so you each get a chance to listen as well as to talk. And then we do another short journey, bringing all that together. And again, you break up into your groups and go into a breakout room and discuss how the second journey has moved the first one on. Now, this one, you have more talking between yourself. It's not just witnessing, it's now discussing and sharing points with the, that, well, that happened to me. Now I got that, but it was this way up. And that kind of thing. So you share it in again. So you all grow out of that. And then you all come back into the main group and we do a finishing session of discovering what we'd all learned and what had happened. And then thinking about what we're going to do between this session and the next session. Now that will be work for you to do at home, and where you would be able to come back and email me or message me about whatever. But also it's important that you actually do it, because you sort of dissolve it inside yourself. You digest it. It's like eating a good meal. And you digest everything that happened. And through the week or two between that and the next course, in the next session, you make a few notes, and preferably mind map. Mind maps are brilliant for this kind of thing. So you just make a mind map and keep adding to it. And then you bring that to the next session, and that is the beginning. That's our first session again in the next part of the course. So this is what seems to be going to happen at the moment. And be over 10 sessions. And I'm still making up my mind whether once a week is really too much, which I have a feeling it is, whether once a fortnight is a good idea. Once a month seems too long. It feels like, and there's too long between it. So, you've got that, and then, and you've got a nice sort of gentle wave going between each session. So I suspect it's going to be every 2 weeks. And go right through all 10, hopefully pictures. I've got to organise pictures for you as well, because pictures really help. They're so much better than just talking and giving someone just an image, even just like a line drawing kind of thing, just to get you into a feel of where you're going to go. So I've got quite a lot of work to do. Because it's really only got to a stage where I feel that I'm confident enough that I can do it. But it's going to take a little while. I had thought I was going to be able to do it at the end of July for Lammas, but I don't think so. I think it's more likely that it's going to take off maybe between Lammas and autumn, or maybe even as far away as autumn, but I'd like it before then if possible. But I've got to see how it goes, and I need to try it out with 2 or 3 people. And so there we are. That's what I'm hoping to do, and I'm hoping that people will enjoy it. People will find it's an interesting way of discovering themselves. There's going to be lots of bits and pieces of our own legends are going to come into this. That we can't do this without our own stories and the song stories that happen, the old songs that we have that are stories as well. So that's going to come into this course as well. It's not just going to be very sort of strict, boring. It's going to be open, because more stuff will come in from you, and more stuff will come in back to you from me because of what you've just said. And there will be this growing and growing and growing through it. So it'll be a 10-week course. Hi, Pixie, yeah. It'll be a 10-week course. And I'm not sure at the moment. Something like £100 for the 10 weeks is feeling like what it probably will be. And it will be on Zoom. and it will probably be 3 hours once a fortnight. And we will organise coffee breaks and comfort breaks and all that kind of thing into it as well, where you can meet on Zoom, and of course outside if you can and you want to, but you'll be doing all this work on Zoom with me, with each other, and with this ability to go into small groups as well as big groups to do the talking and the working together. So I'm hoping that's sort of fairly exciting. I find the concept of the white stag and the 3 wishes and the hunting of the white stag, it's not a hunt to kill, it's a hunt to discover, it's a hunt for wisdom out of one of our ancient beasts. And this is the stag, true. And as you know, I'm a follower of Ellen's ways, and I always have been. And Ellen is the deer goddess and a reindeer, because they're the only deer who have antlers, and she definitely does. And it's a part of that, but it's different. Following Ellen is like the grandmother reindeer, the one who leads the herd. And so often, if you look in nature, it is the female who leads the herd. I mean, even in wolf packs, very often the decision maker can well be a female. Very often is, because she also is deciding when to mate, who to mate with, when to have pups, cubs, and all this sort of thing. And the others have their jobs in the pack as well. But the leader may well be a female. In the reindeer, it's grandmother reindeer who knows the way between the winter pasture and the summer pasture. And she leads you, and it's this between the dark and the light, between the pairs of opposites, which is the spiritual side of following the deer trods. And it's the grandmother deer who leads you. But the male deer, the stags, or bucks if it's another kind of deer, the male deer is very often the guardian and the protector and the explorer, the one who goes out and says, hey, Gran, there's grass over here in a good pasture and it looks pretty safe to me. And I've had it checked out by a couple of the other blokes. What do you think? We have a stop here. Get the picture? So Granny is there looking at a hole, whereas the male is going out into the environment and discovering what is good. Now, hunting the white stag is you are going out of your tramlines of everyday existence and following the stag into new pastures, new things, new glades, new forests, new open space, where you're going to learn a lot of new things that you didn't already know. And of course, they're going to be things about you. And they're going to be things about your spirit self. So the male is the protector of the spirit self, and the one who leads the personal self, who is the one who can actually act in this world. And so it goes forth like that. Susan, loads of people do, even on the apprenticeship, and there's a lot of group work on the apprenticeship. I'm not bad at actually helping people get together and work on this. So if you feel like trusting me at all, I am used to bringing people together, and I'm not going to have 30 people on this course or anything idiotic like that. I imagine that 10 would be an absolute maximum number of people, and it may well be sort of like 5, 6, 7. I mean, 6 or 8 would be good, because even numbers are a little bit easier to work with, or 6 or 9 would actually be very good. And people find they do get together, and you're not going to be the only one, Susan, who feels like this. Probably most people are going to feel like this, and they're going, I'm going to do it. Oh, I'm going to screw myself up for this. I'm not even going to clash my teeth. You know how it is. And I'm quite good at helping people to get through that. So, yeah, let it grow on you. Talk to me privately if you want to. I'm quite up for that if you want to talk about it. And really, you're going to feel like that. Pixie, how do you feel about group work? Are you with it, or anybody else who is on tonight? How do you feel about working in a group? Are you shy? Are you nervous? Are you afraid people are going to laugh at you? Because we all are. So yeah, thanks, Susan. But yeah, and I'm quite good at looking after people when they're getting into a group and getting them to be themselves and to talk and to express and to discuss when we're doing group work. Okay, so that's what's happening. And I've got quite a lot. I've got, oh yes, small advert, tea time. Small advert this weekend, the 1st of June, 2nd, 3rd and 4th of June, I think it was the 3rd and 4th. Anyway, it's Saturday and Sunday coming up of June. And there's a thing called MoonCon coming up. It's one of these sort of general congresses, getting togethers. But this will be on Facebook and on SoundCloud. And we're having talks. It's us authors who are part of the group. And we're doing talks and panels and chats and all this kind of thing. So I've got that to prepare for next weekend. Because I'm doing a talk and I'm doing a chat with Rachel, as I do every couple of weeks as well. And so that's going to take it up. And then right after that, or quite soon after that, I've got this year's apprentices workshop, which, please the gods, we're going to have live. And please the gods, my American students, I've got a couple of American students, lovely girls this year. I'm just hoping to goodness they can come over. It's still looking possible. And so we're just hoping for that. And then I'm sort of out of it. Also, I've got a big writing thing coming up as well, for stuff to do with the novel I'm writing. So it's going to be pretty well towards the end of July before I can really spend some time on this, which is why I think, I'm sure it's not going to be Lammas. It's much more likely to be September. And I might sort of say, okay, we'll do it for autumn. So there is plenty of time to think about it. And do come on the weekend. If you put MoonCon into Facebook, I think you'll find it. If you look on my pages, you'll find links to it. And I'll put up some more tonight, tomorrow. So say, don't forget, we're here. Come and talk to us all over there. Come and listen to us. So I'll put that up. So it's going to be a little while before we get there. You want to talk to me personally, I'm on Messenger. Message me, say, help, I don't know what to do about this, or I'd really like to do this part, kind of thing. So do feel free to talk to me, and we'll see what we can do. And then give me to the end of July, and I will come back. I'm going to do this Monday evening anyway, but towards the end of July, I should know much better where I am with what I can do for when, and when this course will be ready to give to you. So it's not going to be a muddle, because I don't want to start giving you a muddle. It's not good. So we'll see how that goes. Now, hopefully that feels good for you all. And great. And another sort of little advert, still places on the apprenticeship. Love to have you on that. That is an amazing journey. It's an amazing journey for me as well as the students. I mean, every year it happens, and this year it's like, wow, where do these people come from? They're amazing, and they're doing this and that and the other thing. When they come on the workshop, it's going to be fun. So coming here to Shropshire, and there are loads of fantastic walks and sacred sites and things like that that people are going to go to, and they're going to journey while they're out walking and come back and tell their stories and their journeys. And then we share it and we move on, having all learned from each other, to the next day, to the next stage. And we've also got an amazing singing and dancing and drumming thing happening on the last day, which will probably video, but I'll have to make sure that nobody in the group minds if I put it up for public consumption, because they might say, yeah, I don't really want people to see me like that. But it will be fun. It's even dressing up, I mean, but it will be very deep and serious. Well, not serious. Serious, but not solemn then. Stuff as well. So that's going to be fun. And one thing that they learn and they do is learn storytell. And you'll probably find this will happen in the White Stag, that as you get used to it, you know, by about number 3, you'll be able to tell your journey as a story. People do, they just think they can't, and other people have told them they can't, and they've stupidly believed them, but then we all do that. So that's not, you know, that's it. And you just have to like, no, I can do this. And then you do it, and everyone goes, wow, yes, great, thank you, I learned a lot from that. So the apprentices really do get into doing this. This is how they tell their journeys. This is how they show their journeys. And they also draw them and picture them and do mind maps of them and take you through the whole journey through where they went and everything like this, which is glorious, which of course is private to them, and I'm not putting any of that up for public consumption. But this is the sort of thing that we do. And of course you get to know yourself even deeper, but it is good if you've done something like just to start to get yourself into the process of learning to know yourself. Because then when you know yourself and you're used to talking with your spirit self, then when you come to working with other world, it's not your personal self that's doing, you know, that's there and offering comments, but your spirit self is there really working with the other spirits and with the help of your personal self as well, and bringing your personal self into it. So it's quite, it sounds simple and it's quite deep stuff, but I found that all my life. And my dad used to say, life is very simple, but nobody said it was easy. So the simple exercises, they're deep and profound, and they take you where you far, far deeper than you think you're going. So I think it's about tea time. Has anybody want any questions? Anything else they want to say? No? Do say if you want to. And as I said, if you want to message me about it, please do. Only too pleased. So I'm going off to have a cup of tea. You have a nice cup of tea. Hope the sun is shining for you again tomorrow, wherever you are. And see you next week. Yeah, for now, guys. Bye.